All right, as everybody's finishing up that delicious SDSU ice cream, I want to introduce our governor as we get ready for the Governor's Ag Ambassador Award presentation. And I think you'll all agree that we have a governor here in South Dakota who understands agriculture, is an advocate for agriculture, truly has been involved with this industry and is a very strong advocate for what you all do every day. He's familiar with the issues. He's familiar with what you do, and so we're very fortunate. And Governor, I appreciate your support of the Ag Summit over the years and what you've done here, and appreciate the opportunity that you've given me to serve as the Interim Ag Secretary. So, without further ado, Governor Dennis Daugaard. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. No, sit down, sit down, sit down. No, thank you, sit down, please. Dustin, thank you for whipping the crowd into a frenzy. Well, I'm feeling pretty good today. Just 3 weeks ago today, I became a grandfather for the fifth time, and so that was pretty fun. My daughter lives in Pierre. She and her husband live in Pierre, and so we were right there when the baby was born and got to see the baby right away. And now Sarah, our daughter, the new mom, is adjusting after 3 weeks. You know, she's getting out and about a little bit. And so yesterday I was at the state capitol and worked at the office during the morning, and I came home for lunch, and Sarah and the 3 kids were at the governor's mansion for lunch, and Linda was there, had prepared a lunch. And they came in, and the 3 kids are Henry, who's 3, Elizabeth is 1, and the new baby is Madeline. Madeline was sleeping. Henry and Elizabeth were at the counter. You know, we've got one of those counters in the kitchen where you can pull up a stool. And I said, oh, hi, Henry. And Henry said, I'm not Henry, I'm Bruce Wayne. So he's into this Batman thing, and it's a lot of fun. Anyway, has nothing to do with agriculture, but I thought it was funny. Welcome to Brookings for the 7th Annual Governor's Ag Summit. I'm excited to be here to talk a little bit about agriculture and to recognize our Ag Ambassador. First of all, I want to thank you all for attending the summit this year. The event provides leaders like you a chance to get together, learn more about what's going on in the ag world in other places. Things are happening across the country, even, that'll have an impact on agriculture here at home in South Dakota. Let's give a round of applause to our sponsors. They've been depicted on the screen through lunch. Let's give our sponsors a round of applause. Without them, we couldn't host this event, and I hope you're enjoying it. I hope you enjoy the entire summit, because they are the ones that we need to thank. So thanks to those sponsors. I also want to congratulate Barry Dunn, the Dean of the College of Ag and Biological Sciences. As Dr. Dakota mentioned, he's now stepped up to be the president of our land-grant college, SDSU. He's a great guy, been a great advocate for agriculture. And the more I've got to know him, the more I've appreciated his talents. And so congratulations, Dr. Dunn, President Dunn. Let's give him a round of applause. I want to begin today by giving a little bit of an overview of agriculture here in South Dakota. And the good news is I've written out my remarks, so I won't go too long. I won't go off script. Linda is very helpful, my wife. You've maybe heard me tell about the story I told. I was early in my career, and I was giving a speech, and it was going to be a big audience, and I was a little bit nervous. And that morning, as I was getting ready, I was thinking about my speech, and I cut my chin when I was shaving, and it really was a bloody mess, and so I had this big bandage on. I gave my speech, and I thought, gosh, I should probably explain why I look the way I do. And so I said to the audience, I'm sorry I don't look my best. I was thinking about my speech, and I cut my chin. And afterwards, Linda came up and said, honey, next time, think about your chin and cut your speech. So I'm always grateful for her support. It's Linda's birthday today, by the way. And so if you happen to see her or know her, you can wish her a happy birthday. As many of you know, the National Agricultural Statistics Service at USDA annually ranks states in various categories, including crop and livestock production. And this information helps provide some perspectives on South Dakota's place in the world of agriculture. And it also helps us identify the diversity of agriculture, not just in South Dakota, but across the nation. For example, South Dakota is the top producing bison state, the top producing sunflower state. We also rank number 4 in spring wheat production, number 5 in beef and lamb, and number 6 in corn production. So when you look at South Dakota, we're clearly an ag state, and among the top states in the nation, we are found. We have much to celebrate in South Dakota, too. It's important, though, that we never stand still. We have to continue to strive to grow as a state and as an industry. One way we've been able to encourage that continued growth and opportunities for agriculture development is through our county site analysis program. This program allows interested counties who choose to participate, if they choose to participate, to use state resources to look at their land, look at where their roads are, look at where their infrastructure, their power lines are, look at what their zoning rules are for that county, and identify locations in the county that might be ideal for livestock development or ag processing. So far, commissioners in 55 of our 66 counties, 55 out of 66, have asked for a county site analysis. Participation in the program, as I say, allows counties to learn about the different kinds of ag, livestock production or processing that might make sense in their communities. And that might make sense or not make sense in different places in the county. And of course, zoning is very important, and different counties have different zoning laws. To date, we've been able to present analysis reports to 29 of those 55 counties, and we'll complete another 11 more before the end of this month. And we hope to complete the remaining 15 next year. And we welcome to serve as a resource for the remaining 11 counties if they wish. I'm proud of the results we've seen from this approach to ag development in the 3 years the program has operated. I'm also proud of the partnerships that have been forged with local leaders through our cooperative efforts. We now have numerous counties with identified areas suitable for development that they're actively working to pursue. Now just think about it. Think about if South Dakota is trying to encourage dairy production, and I'll talk about that in a minute. You're a dairy producer from Iowa, let's say, or from California more likely, and you're looking for refuge for dairying because it's tough to be a dairyman in California. If you don't believe me, talk to a dairyman in California. If you're looking for refuge, it's sort of like looking for a house, though. If you're coming to Brookings and you're looking for a house, you want the realtors in town to tell you what places are available. But if you come to South Dakota and you don't know what locales are available for your dairy, then it's hard to know where to start. The County Site Analysis Program helps counties identify these sites might be good, these sites would not be as good, or maybe are prohibited because of zoning laws. And so a producer coming in and looking in a county that has engaged in the site analysis program has the advantage of not wasting their time looking at a parcel that's simply unacceptable. So whether they're opening a new cheese plant or expanding an existing hog facility or creating a new feedlot, ag development creates opportunities for today's producers. And these developments are especially important to the next generation because younger people aren't going to have the capital unless you are born into a family that has an operating ag production facility already. Then how are you going to get the capital to enter agriculture? You probably can't get enough capital to buy land, buy all the equipment to farm that land and grow crops. But you can enter agriculture through starting a hog barn or becoming a worker at an ag processing plant and working your way up into other ag opportunities. So these developments are especially important to that next generation as you look, as I look, at keeping our children and our grandchildren here in South Dakota and hopefully able to engage in agriculture as you have. As I mentioned a minute ago, we've been working hard to expand dairy production and processing in South Dakota for several years. We've been fortunate to have strong and growing dairy production in our state, and we also have extensive dairy processing capacity along the I-29 corridor. At our table, we were just talking about how the new Bell Brands cheese processing plant is just right north of this building. I don't know which way is north. I'm turned around here. Up there. Yeah, right up there. So as you leave the summit, if you're interested in taking a look at that from the outside, just drive up the street here, and it's more than a football field in length. You cannot miss it, and it's ultra-modern. Our efforts are based on the premise that dairies of all sizes are vital to our ultimate goal of growing the state's dairy herd. And I'm committed to promoting balanced expansion across the industry, establishing a sustainable growth pattern which both production and processing are able to successfully grow together. As I mentioned, we've been successful in expanding milk production through both encouraging existing dairies in South Dakota to grow their footprint, as well as attracting out-of-state dairies to come and locate a new operation in South Dakota. That's been successful. There have been months in the past couple of years where we have outpaced the nation in terms of the percentage of milk cows we've added to our herd in South Dakota. So we've been having success there. But now we're shifting our focus toward pursuing additional processing capacity to match the increased milk capacity that we're seeing. And to that end, the South Dakota Department of Ag and the Governor's Office of Economic Development have worked together throughout this past year to recruit processors to our state and encourage those here to expand. And I'm happy to report that through that effort, we've been able to build relationships with multiple processors who now better understand the opportunities here in South Dakota because they are good here. When we were recruiting Bell Brands to come to South Dakota, they had no presence here in South Dakota. They only had one presence of the kind that they wanted to build here in Kentucky, I believe it was. And they were looking, and we were competing with 3 other states, and then we were competing with Iowa. And ultimately, they chose us. But we had to make the case that South Dakota was a good place for processing, and we were successful there. At least one local processor today is currently finalizing plans for expansion in the near future. So I'm very excited about the outlook for dairy in South Dakota. In addition to the work in the dairy sector, we continue to work on identifying resources and reinvesting in infrastructure that supports agriculture here in South Dakota. One of those projects is the construction of the new Nordby exhibit hall for 4-H youth and community on the state fairgrounds in Huron. Last year, we broke ground on that important building for the many 4-Hers that attend the state fair. Today, construction is well along, and we expect substantial completion in just 3 weeks on June 23rd. The building will house the state fair office, provide a place for area 4-H clubs and 4-Hers from around the state to gather, as well as serve as a year-round venue for other things in the Huron area. A grand opening and celebration will be held on Sunday, September 4th. So if you're interested, mark that, Sunday, September 4th, during this year's state fair. Hopefully all of you can be there for that event. Now, a building like this is an investment in the future, financed by private donors, like many of you. Currently, we've raised $4.3 million toward this building as part of our $4.7 million goal. Since beginning work on this project, bricks have been sold as part of the fundraising effort. For a $1,000 donation, you can get an inscribed brick that will be placed on location there. The final brick countdown is underway now with 400 bricks left, so you can still get in under the wire with your $1,000 donation, or if you want to give more than that, that's fine too. You can leave your mark on the building and on the future by donating. So if you're interested in learning more about the project, talk to anybody here from the Department of Agriculture. Another important asset to the ag industry is right here in Brookings, the Animal Disease Research and Diagnostic Lab. Last session, the legislature appropriated funds to design a possible upgrade to the lab. This upgrade would enable the lab to continue to provide critical answers regarding the health of our livestock, wildlife, and even pets. The design will help define the nature and cost of improved space and updated tools for diagnosing and researching animal diseases. For example, the avian flu that attacked our turkey flocks here in South Dakota and our egg processor, Dakota layers near Flandreau. That kind of research is the kind of research that is done at an animal diagnostic and research lab like this. The success of the project that I just was talking about here depends greatly on continued commitment from the ag industry and upon our ability to identify funding sources. Both the Nordby Exhibit Hall and the Animal Disease Research and Diagnostic Lab are examples of an ever-growing need for resources to support agriculture here and around the state. We know we're on the cusp of a significant transfer of agricultural wealth in the ag world here in South Dakota and elsewhere. In order to meet both the future needs and these needs I just mentioned, I was excited to support the creation of the South Dakota Agriculture Foundation that was just launched in March of this year, thanks to the hard work of many leaders throughout the state. Larry Ness and his bank were large contributors to that. Is Larry here? Or I know Nate is here. Thank you for your significant commitment. The Farm Credit System is helping. Others are helping. Launched this last March thanks to the hard work of many leaders here. The foundation is uniquely positioned to provide a home for charitable gifts that will benefit agriculture in South Dakota. And that is the only confining subject of the foundation. It has to be agriculture, but it can be anything in agriculture. So if you and your loved ones want to benefit agriculture through a charitable gift, the Ag Foundation is an opportunity to do that. To date, the foundation has raised almost $1.5 million, and I look forward to seeing the great things that will be done by the foundation in the future. Now, as producers look at falling prices for crops and for livestock, I know many are taking a close look at how best to utilize their land. Producers are looking at every parcel to maximize the potential of every acre. The answer may be putting a parcel in cropland or using it for forage or pasture or utilizing one of the many conservation programs available to farmers and ranchers through private or state or federal programs. And recognizing the variety of conservation programs available through the various entities and the complexity of that, and yet the important role that conservation plays in South Dakota, I asked the South Dakota Departments of Game Fish and Parks and the Department of Agriculture to launch the Habitat Pays initiative last fall. And if you're familiar with that, you know it has a number of purposes. One purpose is to provide a one-stop location on the internet where you can go and get information about all kinds of conservation programs, whether it's a state program or a federal program or Pheasants Forever or Ducks Unlimited. They're all described on this one Habitat Pays website. And if you want to read about it and learn about them and decide for yourself if one of them makes sense for you, there's a place you can go. But if you don't want to dig into all that and you just want somebody who already has dug into all that, then there's a list of habitat advisors. They're stationed throughout South Dakota. Some are federal employees, some are state employees, some are Pheasants Forever employees, but they are all ready, willing, and able to meet with you and talk with you about your property and give you counsel and ideas and suggestions about things that will meet your conservation goals in the way you want to meet them. So if you've got a parcel of marginal land that you're thinking about dedicating to conservation, these habitat advisors are at your disposal without cost. So take advantage of that. They'll assist you in developing a cost-effective and beneficial plan that'll help you meet your conservation goals and hopefully provide some money along the way to get it done. I appreciate all the work that those two agencies have done to launch Habitat Pays, and I encourage you to all take a look at Habitat habitat.sd.gov, habitat.sd.gov, or just launch your browser and type in Habitat Pays, and you'll find it. Now, the strength of agriculture in South Dakota truly comes from our people, from the farmers and ranchers who care for the land, to businesses who supply financing, equipment, feed, and other forms of support. All are crucial in maintaining a vibrant ag industry in our state. And these individuals also include those who inform and educate the public. They influence decision makers, and they provide leadership. Each year, I'm proud to present the Governor's Ag Ambassador Award to an individual who goes above and beyond, a true industry leader. This year's winner has been just that. And you'll see the many accomplishments of this year's winner. I will say, in the media world, if you're an elected official, and I mentioned this to my table a minute ago, if you're an elected official and you're being interviewed by the media, there are some people, and we'll say it's an ag topic, there are some people, Jerry, Michelle, others, who are knowledgeable about the topic. There are some who are not so knowledgeable, and those are easy interviews because they don't know. They ask you a question, they don't know. But then there's people like Michelle and Jerry who know more than you do. And so they're a little more intimidating to answer questions for. But I'll tell you, this year's winner has been a true ambassador for South Dakota agriculture. Let's take a look at a short video and her many accomplishments. South Dakotans are known as hardworking, honest, and humble people. This year's Governor's Ag Ambassador Award recipient personifies all these qualities. She grew up on a small crop and dairy farm near Clear Lake and has never forgotten those roots. She tells the story of farmers and ranchers daily through her work in radio and television broadcasting. She spends countless hours interviewing, editing, and producing agricultural news and market stories. These stories not only give our producers information they can use to make the best business decisions for their operations, these stories also help consumers and others not connected to agriculture better understand where the food, feed, fuel, and fiber we depend on every day comes from. I'm pleased to announce the 2016 Governor's Ag Ambassador, Michelle Rook.
I think Michelle deserves this award from the standpoint that she has been out there pretty much ground level with ag for a long time, and she absolutely knows what's going on out there.
Michelle has the best interests of agriculture in mind, and she has such a broad perspective on agricultural topics. And because of that, I think she's able to draw the information out of a subject or ask the best questions to be able to inform the listeners.
She really cares about what's happening within the ag industry and really wants to make sure that producers and consumers alike really understand what's happening behind the gates of those farms and ranches.
Riding in the cab of a tractor, talking to a producer is among the best parts of her job. I've heard her say that many times, and she wants to be able to do that to continue to relate to those producers that she knows out in the field.
We've always had growers that were on there on the radio, and she's been able to put them at ease, and I think the reason that she can do that is because her knowledge base is so well-rounded, and they know that she's very knowledgeable in all aspects of ag.
Michelle Rook grew up around agriculture, and her passion towards the industry shows.
Michelle is a farm kid, if you will, so she grew up in agriculture. She's been working in agriculture for years, so she has the background. She knows what's going on, so she knows the right questions to ask the people that she's working with.
She graduated from South Dakota State University with a master's degree in journalism and mass communications, and earned her broadcast meteorology degree from Mississippi State University. Her reporting has taken her across the nation and globe to places such as Washington, D.C., China, Brazil, Germany, Mexico, and Central America. In addition to her duties at WNAX, Rook reports for nationally syndicated television shows Ag Day and U.S. Farm Report. Michelle adds the 2016 Governor's Ag Ambassador Award to a long list of awards, including the National Association of Farm Broadcasting's Farm Broadcaster of the Year in 2008 and NAFB's inaugural Doan Award for Excellence in Ag Reporting in 2015.
Well, having worked with her almost 20 years, watching her work both here and in the field, she's impressed me very much from the start. She has a nose for news, she has a knack for finding the good stories, and she has a very good way of relating to people one-on-one.
I've just enjoyed working with her. She's just been a great gal to be a spokesman for ag.
I think she does a wonderful job, not only with her radio work, but with her TV work also, on letting consumers know what's going on out here on the farm and the actual production of the food that they get to eat.
We share such a kinship when it comes to telling stories and being able to talk about agriculture. To have someone like her put into this role is, I can't imagine a better person to have it done.
She is embarrassed to receive this award, and she doesn't feel like she wants the attention. I think she deserves it, and that's the reason I nominated her, because I've watched her work in this business and know how important agriculture is to her. She deserves it. I'm very happy for her, and I couldn't be more pleased that she was named the Ag Ambassador.
Michelle, you're a wonderful advocate for agriculture. Your excellence in reporting has been recognized locally, regionally, and nationally. I commend you on your many accomplishments, and I'm pleased to add the 2016 Governor's Ag Ambassador Award recipient to your list of honors. Our state is very fortunate to have an Ag Ambassador such as you. Thank you for all you've done, and congratulations.
Michelle, this is a great honor for you. I am so happy that you're getting this. You're well deserved of it, and it's just been a pleasure working with you over the years. And if there was anybody out there in ag that I know of that has had your pulse on ag, it's you, and you just really deserve this, and I'm very, very happy for you. Take care.
Congratulations on your selection as the 2016 Governor's Ag Ambassador, Michelle. In a state that is richly blessed with advocates for agriculture, you are outstanding. Thanks for all you do for South Dakota agriculture.
Congratulations, Michelle, on your award. You're very well deserving of this award, and thank you so much for those of us in production agriculture.
I tell you, Michelle, I can't imagine, like I said, any person not being selected for this than you. I mean, you go above and beyond every single day. You're there for a farm broadcaster, you're there for the consumer, but more than you're there as a friend. I am so excited and what you're going to do to help promote South Dakota agriculture continually like you do. I love you, and way to go, Michelle.
Michelle, congratulations on the award. I know you're embarrassed by it and didn't seek this out. You deserve it. I couldn't be happier for you, and I look forward to working with you many more years here at WNAX. Congratulations.
Congratulations to my sis, Michelle Rook, on the Ag Ambassador Award for South Dakota in 2016. Congratulations.
Didn't seek this out. You deserve it. Forward to working with you many more years here at WNAX. Congratulations.
Yes, Michelle Rook on the Ag Ambassador Award for South Dakota in 2016. Congratulations.
Now come up here. Congratulations, Michelle.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you so much.
Well, let's pose with the crowd.
I'll try to give you the broadcast version as we normally do as broadcasters. I'm humbled and honored to be receiving this from the governor because I know how much you love this industry. And so to receive this from you is very, very special to me. And I think most everyone in this room can see all of the things that you have done to promote agriculture yourself. So you're the original Ag Ambassador. And I think you will leave a long and lasting legacy for agriculture in this state, long after you are no longer our governor. So thank you very much for that. I came by being an advocate for this industry and loving this industry and being passionate about it pretty naturally by the folks sitting at this table, my mom and my dad, who I love so dearly. And my dad stuck me out on a tractor when I was barely old enough to, or big enough to push the clutch in. And from there, I loved being on the farm. I loved it. And I always laugh and tell the story, and Jerry's heard this on the air, and so is Crawford, about how growing up, we were all hands on deck because, small family farm, and my brother and my sister and I, we were all there together working with mom and dad and running the dairy operation. And if you've been on a dairy, you know that it's hard work, it's long hours, but we came together as a family, and it's an experience that I would not give up for anything. But the funny story I always tell is that the indoctrination into our family, or for me, into even guys that I went out with, was they had to pitch manure with me on Saturday night before my dad would let us go out. So you figured they must be pretty good guys if they would pitch manure with me before we went out. So those were my early and fond memories of being in agriculture. And I just knew there was nothing that I wanted to do more than be in this industry when I started school at SDSU. And I started in dairy manufacturing, and I was a state FFA officer, and somehow the twists and turns of life pulled me into the broadcasting industry. And I wouldn't be a broadcaster if it wasn't for being a farm broadcaster, because it is one of the most satisfying jobs that you can imagine, to represent and be the voice and the face for all of you in this industry. This is why I do what I do. It is for all of you, because every day when I step behind the mic or behind the camera, I try to think to myself, what is it that would help all of you out there make this industry better? What would it help farmers to make more money, be more profitable on their farm? What is it that I can tell the consumer that will help bridge the gap between farmers and consumers that's so important nowadays? That is my mission every day, and it's one that I hope to continue for a long time, is to be passionate and be an advocate for this industry. So what I do for you, and Jerry was right. My favorite place, I got to interview the president a couple years ago, and it was wonderful to have that experience, and I've interviewed secretaries of agriculture. My favorite spot is still out there in the tractor or the combine at harvest time with all of you. That is what I love. That's why I'm in this industry. And that's why I will continue to be passionate about this industry for the rest of my life. I'm lucky I get to work at a station that still believes farm is the best. It's number one. It is the thing that drives this economy and drives this nation. And so my thanks to my second family, which is the folks from my station, Jerry Oster, our news director, Steve Crawford, who's with us, who is our program director, and my station manager, and great supporter, Bill Holst. And after that, I'm sure I'm up for a raise, am I not? And again, my parents are here, Terry and Minnie Rook, and my brother Brian. He went into the agricultural industry as well, as passionate about it probably as I am. And I'm so proud of him, and I'm very proud of my sister as well. She's not in agriculture, but she's very much an advocate for the industry in Sioux Falls, and talks to a lot of town people about why it's so important, what is so important about what you do out here on the farm every day, and what we do in agribusiness to feed and clothe and fuel this nation. I couldn't be more proud. There's so many people in here that probably deserve this award as much or more than I do. But thank you for recognizing the passion that I have and for giving me the privilege of working for you and with you every single day. Thank you so much.
All right, very deserving. Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate your comments there, and you're a high bar for all of us to reach for, so I really appreciate your leadership. Well, we'll wrap up our luncheon now. We've got a great lineup of panelists this afternoon. We'll start again, we'll have a brief break now. We'll start up at 1:15 back in the arena. So take some time for further networking, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.